Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel, friends. My name is Rachel, and today we are going to depart from what is currently happening on my channel, which is no buy content. I do makeup and sometimes fashion videos. I'm an advocate for mental health, and right now we're in a no buy, but we're going to depart from that slightly today. We're going to do a get ready with me. Likely I'm not going to be talking about products, but if you like the look, let me know and we can revisit it. But I have tried to film this and wrestled with what I needed and wanted to say would be for the last week. I've been a little absent from my channel. We're gonna get into why, what's been going on, and I have a message for you. So if you would like to hang out for a little while, it's gonna be kind of a calming one, kind of like a, not low energy, but calming, I think is the right word. So if you're into that, I hope you'll stick around, hang out, and keep watching. So I'm just going to be getting ready because I need to get ready for the rest of my day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I've been absent. And that was mainly due to getting sick at the convention that I was at. Was Grace Hopper, which is the largest women in tech and non-binary in tech conference. And there were 20,000 people, and I got the conference crowd, which I should have known going into it that was likely going to happen. And I did pack some things to try to mitigate that as much as possible, but it just didn't happen. So I was sick. And then we had a death in the family, which was very unfortunate and very sad. But everybody is okay. We know that that person lived a very full and happy life. So all is good in those terms. And I share that with you because I like sharing my life and what's going on. And what happened after I got my bearings after those two things is immediately following the election madness. I live in an important swing state. I'm in Pennsylvania, and we were just inundated with all things election. And it just made it more difficult to find the time to dedicate to the things that I typically love to do, which is YouTube, basically anything other than my day-to-day responsibilities with work and all of that. So what I wanted to do today is to get some things off my chest in order to feel like I can move on with the normal content on my channel. And some of you I know will comment that I didn't need to do this, but I want to do this, and I feel like I have to do this. So we are going to get into conversations surrounding politics, but before you click off, I just want you to hear what I have to say. One, because I am not here offering anything other than letting you know who I am as a person and as a creator and what my purpose is here on this app, and also to give you hope. This overall, I want to be a message of hope. So first and foremost, while I apply my foundation, I just want to say how incredibly thankful and grateful I am for this community that we have built on this little corner of the internet and on YouTube. I am so thankful that my comments have always remained respectful. I've somehow struck gold in finding the people who love to dive into nuance and who aren't here for just black and white thinking, and who like to learn new experiences and perspectives and welcome those discussions. And for that, I'm incredibly thankful. And for that reason, that is why I don't want to take on a lecture standpoint. I want these to be points to take away and think about. Also, to just kind of reintroduce myself, because I know the majority of you have been on my channel for a while, but we have had some new people pop up. And of course, people can miss videos where I've talked about certain topics. So I want to just make sure that we're all clear on what this space is on YouTube and on the internet. So that said, let's just dive right into it. All right. So the first thing that I want to say is that you are watching, and I am a self-proclaimed feminist, an advocate for LGBTQIA+ communities, minorities of all backgrounds, people with disabilities, and overall a mental health advocate within all of that. And I'm telling you all of this because, as many people probably felt with the recent election results, I have been in an absolute tailspin of emotion, and it's been hard to find the words that I wanted to share and what approach I would take. And for the longest time, I have been told throughout my life that my values were not the right ones, or that my approach specifically is not the right approach. And I have done a lot of work on myself the last year, and I fully embrace my values and my approaches, because there is room for all feelings in this specific situation. And to say that any are invalid is not fair, because we're going to need all of those range of emotions for what we're about to encounter and do work to rise up to, if that makes sense. So me as a person, I hope that you have never had to guess my support would never go to a group of people who would vote against the rights of others. Human and civil rights is my topmost passion when we're talking about this conversation, and it saddens me that we still have to vote based on those, because it seems like we should be in a time where everybody has the EQ and emotional intelligence to have empathy, see another person's perspective. But unfortunately, the majority did not take that stance in the most recent US election. Just for more clarification, every day that I show up to my 9 to 5 is a political act. I just mentioned I went to Grace Hopper. I work in a field that is 22% female, or female identifying or non-binary, okay? And that number hasn't risen in 10 years, because those spaces are not necessarily safe for those people. And I've also held jobs in corporate social responsibility and advocating for factory workers and manufacturers in the retail industry. The stories that I could share with you in depth of what that work looks like, I just can't wrap my brain around how the majority of Americans were not seeing this the way that I was seeing this. And I typically like to kind of pride myself in being able to understand all perspectives, and this is one that I just can't. And I know that a lot of you on my channel specifically are probably feeling that way too. And I'm incredibly disappointed that that is the case, and that the majority in this country who don't consider others and hold empathy for others, who are marginalized, oppressed, and held under the thumb of white patriarchy, is mind-boggling to me. And I'm exceptionally disappointed in the white women of this country, based on the exit polls, which are not indicative of everyone who voted, showed that we as white women did not show up for the other people fighting for similar and same rights, and rights that go beyond that. And I think that what I'm trying to offer here is, one, to make my position very solid. Hate will never be tolerated on this channel. This channel is a safe place for those who have not felt safe in other spaces. And this is a channel of advocacy and having nuanced conversations, even if they make people uncomfortable, and it might not be as in your face as some other creators, but just like the olive conversation we had, where I wanted to bring attention to a topic on the internet that is overshadowing Black women's voices again. Those are the ways that I'm trying to approach this, so that we can have those conversations out in the open. And my hope is that a white woman bringing those conversations to light will make it more palatable, which shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't have to do that. Everyone should just, care about each other. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at. And that's how I want to contribute to this community, even if that approach looks different from other people. And now that we've kind of solidified and cleared up my stance on the current situation, I need to get some things just off my chest and where I'm at currently and what I want to share with you. And we're going to talk about things that hopefully will give you hope, and will also be kind of a call to action for the people who are on my channel and anyone who happens across this. And that is, right now, it is of the utmost importance that we take care of ourselves and sit in our feelings. Those feelings of uncomfort, disappointment, anger, those feelings are there for a reason and they matter, and we all need to like sit in them for a minute. And that's why I took that break. I needed to sit in my feelings. And also, as an autistic woman, it takes me 3 to 5 business days to work through just like a normal interaction and the feelings that can flare up. But especially when it's something that hits this deep and this hard, it takes me a while to work through how I want to communicate how I'm feeling and how I want to move in my next move, if that makes sense. So number one, make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're sitting in those feelings, because they're telling you something and they're going to spring action eventually when that time comes, when you have the resolve and you know exactly what those emotional reactions and those physical reactions even have told you, right? The second is something that people are talking a lot about on the internet right now is finding community. And while yes, finding community is very, very important, I think we're missing a part of that conversation, which is what does that look like and what does that mean? One, using our voices on the internet is helpful and there's nothing to negate that. Like getting the word out, that is important. Having people who look like me stand up for others who don't have the same privilege. Everyone has some set of privileges in their life. Socioeconomic, race, religion, gender, ability. Everyone has some type of privilege, and it's not to hold another person down. It's so that you acknowledge how the systems that have been in place for hundreds of years cater to other people, to yourself, and just understanding the perspective that can bring to you of someone else walking in a different set of shoes. And I say this because when we talk about finding community, it's not just speaking up on the internet. It's not just finding people in your life who have similar ideals and who you can talk to about these things. Those things are incredibly important. But I think when we're hearing people say that right now we need community more than ever, it's also talking about the work that we need to do in our local communities, right? Like the people kind of in the physical community that we have. The internet is so important. It has been able to connect a lot of us to like-minded people, and we obviously saw that play a large role in the results of this election. But we need people out in their local communities to put in groundwork. And if this is something that you want to learn more about and you're not sure what that means, I'm going to link resources that I'm talking about in this video down below. The first one is this book right here, Mutual Aid. This is going to be a really good starting point. It's a quick read about how people come together to create change and rise to the challenges that we will more than likely face in this new government. The second thing is, for me personally, because I am very passionate about civil and human rights, is the ACLU. I'll insert a picture here. On their website, yes, you can donate, but also for anyone who does not have that room in their budget, because we are all strapped right now, they also have volunteer opportunities that are local to you, and they have volunteer opportunities that are broken down by how much time you have to give. And those are just starting points, right? Like, don't just stop there. Get curious and figure out how within your own local community you can make an impact. And I just want to insert kind of an asterisk right here, which is I know that some of the voices who have been trying to warn the masses and who have felt under attack for a long time, that they are tired and they don't have it in them to hold hands for people who look like me or for people who just now are getting it. And that's fine. Again, I go back to point one, which is we have to take care of ourselves and sit in our feelings and understand our feelings and then move on to the next step. So your next step might not be this week. It might not be next week. But as long as you're tuning into yourself, finding those points of passion and getting involved in community in a sense of local, out in the streets of your community doing the work, that is the hope that I can give you, or the direction that I can give you, and the direction that I'm taking myself. So the third and final one is like, take this time. If you have strong feelings and you don't want to participate in community activities, getting involved in the way that I just mentioned, please make art. The best art comes in troubled times like these, when emotions and feelings are being channeled straight into them. And art has a massive impact, and I haven't seen anyone talk about that, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, and we need those outlets and we need to see that art. And there's no one way to help a cause and boost the knowledge around said cause. So those are the kind of things that I would tell you about. And I really also need to discuss some things that have really been weighing on me, and you're gonna have to bear with me because these things do tie in to the overall topic that we're covering today. All of that said, I want to talk about what's going to be happening on my channel, because right now, to be honest, I am not entirely sure. I'm not sure what this means for my channel. I do know that I'll continue my channel, but I haven't decided what that looks like, because it is clear to me that we need more conversations around some of these topics regularly. And that's not to say that, you know, if you're not into that type of thing, that you're not welcome. But listen, if you are someone who is vehemently against the rights of others, meaning other human beings, then sayonara. You know what I mean? And I can say that with my whole chest, because this isn't my day job. I'm not obligated to anything. I don't have sponsors. I don't have deadlines that I have to hit. This channel is for my own expression, and community and integrity is of the utmost importance to me. And I hope that you will keep your ears open and be willing to dive into this, because a lot of what I want to dive into is history and stories and other people's perspectives. And I don't know what that is, because I haven't quite nailed down what that calling is to do, but there is a calling there for me to do something. And we will continue to call out brands that we no longer support. First and foremost, Merit is gone. Merit's contribution to the Trump campaign, they are no longer going to be platformed on my channel, period. There's a lot of nuance to these conversations. There's been a lot of discourse around Sephora and Ulta and the larger corporations that own all of the smaller corporations. I'm going to do my best, and it would be great if we could inform each other and have respectful discourse in the comments, because I do not want to platform them on my channel or give them my own hard-earned money. So that said, I also need everyone to take a really hard look in the beauty community at their involvement in some of the trends that go on online, and the black and white thinking that is perpetuated online, and the rage baiting and the clickbaiting. Because if we look at what's going on in the United States, the division is loud and clear. And even our algorithms are designed to put you in a bubble, right? And you're only hearing what resonates with you. And the stronger those emotions are in the title and in the delivery on either end, makes that bubble smaller and smaller, and the tolerance go down and down. And I just want us all to take a hard look at, who are we following? What is their messaging? Is it black and white thinking? Is it rage baiting? Or are we there to have a good time and learn something new and be open to experiences? Because this topic alone has been what I've been struggling a lot with being on YouTube. And it has nothing to do with being successful. I have no desire to hit an audience that is not for me and is not what I have built already, which has been slow and amazing, because we have the right people who engage in conversations respectfully, who are here to unwind and relax and escape a little bit, but also not shy away from having conversations that are a little more nuanced than usual, and who aren't telling you yes or no, but saying, let's look at all of these facts and just consider them. I'm not going to be a channel that says this is bad, this is wrong, this is how you need to do things. I'm going to offer you my viewpoint and the information that I've collected, and I'm going to put the onus on you to sit with it and make your own decision, because you are always in the driving seat of your decision making, and you have the choice to make those decisions around who you're watching, where you spend your money, what you like to engage with, how you're engaging with other people. And I think it's social media at large, but the beauty community is especially bad at this specific thing. And I'm also just going to throw in here really quick that this whole conversation about reading is not political. I need people to pick up history books, listen to history podcasts, and I'm going to give a couple resources in a minute, but I will give this example. I saw another creator make a comment about how reading the fairy books is just waiting until you get to the sex scenes. Let me just say this. I have read almost 30 books. I'm on my 30th book for the year. 90% of them have been fantasy surrounding fairies. And what I will tell you is, if the only thing you're picking up out of those books is the sex scenes, I need you to reread, because every single one of those books has been about a woman rising to power and fighting against an authoritarian government and political system, okay? And reading is inherently political because that is one way that in the thousands of years of history of humankind, that specific skill has been used to gain control and remain in control. So we will probably take some of these discussions over to my booktube channel. I'm reinvigorated to talk about books now that I understand that there is a plethora of people out there who do not understand the political nature of reading and the power of knowledge and the stories that are being told. While yes, some are just stories, there's always something underlying in them. And I just needed to say that. We've got to stop hearing a soundbite and running with it, and we've got to start listening to people online who are teaching us something, who are giving us new experiences, and who are holding safe space. That's it. And then what I want to get to is my request for all of you, because you sat through my podium moment. My request of all of you is to think long and hard about who you are choosing to support with views. That's influencers, that's podcasts, but that is also news and media in this country. I'm going to insert a picture here and I will link this down below. There are charts that will tell you which news outlets and media outlets lean to one side or the other, and also the accuracy of the facts that they provide. You kind of want to be in the middle at the top to get the most unbiased. And I challenge you to take a look at this, think about the news sources that you've been reading, and also do your due diligence. We are in a time where fact checking is of utmost importance, and finding those outlets that have good accuracy are great. So I'm going to leave that there, but then also please revisit history. And this is where we're going to talk about hope a lot. And I need to start working on the rest of my face. Most of all, I needed to get these feelings out there. I need you to understand where I stand. And I'm not going to be a complete authority on this, but I'm here offering a space where you can feel comfortable to ask questions, to understand something that you might not have understood before, and to know who you're watching when you watch my channel and you support me with your views, your likes, comments, all of that. I need you to know who I am, because it is important to me to hold personal integrity and to also try to be a beacon of hope for everyone in general. And that's why I want to talk about, like, getting back into history. I found a lot of solace after the election results in picking up some more books to further my knowledge on certain topics, and I'll talk about a couple of those specifically for white women, because I think this is a topic that we've been trying to breach for a very long time, and for some reason it just hasn't made it through. And if I can provide a safe space for white women to dive into understanding this a little bit more, I'm happy to do that, because the work is on us at this point. We can't call in anyone else to help us, right? And I find a lot of hope in the reading that I've been doing, because history, while it is frustrating and very upsetting to know that it constantly repeats itself, we can also learn a lot from it. And I will again link this below, but there is an American historian. She went to school at Harvard. I don't know if she got her bachelor's, master's, and PhD there, but anyway, somewhat irrelevant. She taught at MIT and she's now teaching at Boston University. She does a daily newsletter. I will, again, link this down below. It is, I think her first name is Maria Cox Richardson. I'm doing this off the top of my head. She does a daily newsletter, and what is great about it is it keeps you abreast on current news, but it also ties a lot of things into history and what it reminds her of, what it makes her think of. And hearing those stories, there's a lot of hope in there, because I know that it's not ideal, but I view this as the time in history where we need to rise to hope and the challenge, like the many, 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 many generations of us before. If anything, this is a huge call that we need that work, and we need to restore the balance of that work. And again, for those people who are tired, I get it. But I also think, based on some of the demographics we saw in the election, there are key topics that we need to talk about. And one of them is the feminist movement and the Black women. I have 2 books, my copies are over here, that I think should be required reading, which is Hood Feminism by, I just decided to grab them. So Hood Feminism by Mikki, Kendall. This is Notes from Women, the Women That a Movement Forgot. We also read this in book club for my company's Women in Tech ERG. And then we also have Everything You Already Know About Your Own Racism and How to Do Better by White Women, with a guide to start the unlearning. These should be almost required reads at this point. I'm also reading some works by Angela Davis, the first one, Women, Class, and Race, so that we can understand the history of Black women in this country. And it is a topic that has not been touched on near as much as it should be, and to see them show up in droves in that exit poll to vote blue this time around is soul crushing that we didn't rise to meet them there. And I know that there are people in your life that you want to help protect, and this is how we do it, is by learning these things about ourselves, getting involved in I keep wanting to say boots on the ground. I hate those military phrases, but getting people out in the streets of their community to enact change. And while I do feel a lot of anger and rage and disappointment, I am holding on to hope, because there are people in these stories who have continuously showed up and put in the work, and I want to be one of those people, and I hope that you want to be one of those people too. We don't know what we're in store for, but looking back at history can give us an idea and give us ideas on how people showed up for each other when under maybe similar but different circumstances. And I hope that this has made some semblance of sense, because there's just so much nuance to these conversations, and no matter how you feel, your feelings are valid. And I'm mostly talking to the people who voted on the right side of history. For the people who did not vote on the right side of history, I do think that there will be lessons that you will now be forced to learn, and I hope that you take them on very seriously and sit in the feelings that those bring up when they do happen, because more than likely they will happen. And I just want everyone to know that, as always, my Instagram DMs are open. If you are going on a literary journey now to understand some things better and you want to have respectful discourse, my DMs are open for that. The comments are open for that, but make no mistake that they will be moderated, and disrespect and hate will not be tolerated on this channel. It feels good to get this off my chest. I just don't think that I could pop back on here and start talking about lip gloss and what I plan to throw away and not address some of this, because my brain is still heavy in the rumination of it all, you know? I feel like I said so much, and I hope that it was all right. I've tried to film this, and all I can hope is that you are catching my drift, reading in between the lines a little bit, and understanding the nuance that I'm trying to bring to you. All right, I went ahead and finished my makeup. Chaos has erupted in my house. Frank is barking, so you probably have heard that in the background. But to wrap this up, like I said, my DMs are open. Please keep the discourse below respectful, and please take care of yourselves. I cannot stress that part enough. Please take care of yourself physically and mentally. Please allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. And then please do the work. If that's reading, if that's going out into your community and signing up to volunteer, if that is being a shoulder for someone, if that is making art, all of that is valuable right now. There is no one way to slice this, and there is no one way to feel about it. And the only thing I can say is that I have a lot of hope in humanity, because at the end of the day, when I look at the numbers, I know that there were a lot of people who felt the way that I did. And I know that there will be a lot of hard lessons learned on the other side, and we have to hold on to that hope, and we have to rise to the occasion. We have to do the work. That's the most important part, is to do the work. And I hope that amidst all of this crazy stuff, you are taking care of yourself well and getting through the days, and we will be back to more regularly scheduled content, and I will be doing something, whether that's on my book channel or here, to keep some of these conversations open in a respectful way. I want to do that, but for sure you will know that I am no longer supporting a brand, and I will tell you why. And I hope that you'll stick around for it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me. I know that we're being overwhelmed with the amount of content on this topic, but I can't move forward in my content without sharing my piece. So that said, the link of resources that I talked about today will be listed down below, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.